Hi everyone, my name is Jin Chen and welcome to Oz Arab Media. If you have seen some red banners around Bankstown, or if you could feel in the air that something big is coming up, then you're right. The Lebanese Film Festival kickstarts on the 27th of August, and today we have a special edition on everything behind the scenes about the Lebanese Film Festival. We have with us today Julia Lattouf, festival lead, co-founder and board member. Welcome, Julia.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction and a warm welcome.
On a very cold and rainy day, I have to say. Now, you must have been very busy pulling together the festival for another successful year. Tell us, what are the program highlights for this year?
Look, it's very hard to pick out like one, two, or even three films. I think they're all unique in their own way. But if we were to sort of highlight some of them, I would definitely say, for example, our film, A Sad and Beautiful World, that's a film that we've got screening at the Sydney Opera House for the very first time. And I say that in that it's our very first time we partner with the Sydney Opera House to put on a screening there.
Wow.
And that film was actually Lebanon's 2026 Oscar submission for this year.
Oh.
And it's an incredible film. It's award-winning. It's doing its rounds on the global festival circuit. And so, that one definitely is one to call out. Separate to that, there's also a film. It's a feature documentary. It's called Do You Love Me? And this film is... it's a very nostalgic film. It's basically call it a love story, to Lebanon, an ode to Lebanon, and it's basically incorporated of pieces of archival footage over time, over 70 years of Lebanon's history, and the directors actually pieced it all together into what everyone will see at through this film at the festival. So there's that, and there's other films like Les Der Mirage, which is the marriage. It's a romantic comedy, social popcorn film. We've got something for everyone: shorts, documentaries, features. We've got a full day on Sunday, actually this coming Sunday, at the Western Sydney University in Bankstown, and basically over 4 blocks that day. We've got, a range of short stockos and animations showing, and they're complimentary. So registrations are required for that day, but it's basically open to all to come and see these incredible stories that these filmmakers are trying to tell.
Like you said, there are a variety of genres and they are for everyone. I had a quick look at some of the film showings without going into detail for each, because there are so many of them, so many fantastic films out there. Yes, and they're love genre, comedy, there's animation, like you mentioned, something for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even just this coming weekend on the Saturday night, we've got Jasir, and we've also got, Beirut Hold'em. They're sort of retro films that we've screened in previous years, but definitely ones to note. Jasir stars Malak Rahbani, which is, he's a descendant of the Rahbani family, a very prominent family when it comes to, culture, the cultural landscape of Lebanon itself. So, incredible film as well that basically filmed in the US and one to definitely see. So, again, just so much on offer.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess we will go into some of that later. But I am always amazed, and I don't know how it works, when you mention all those partners that the Lebanese Film Festival has, like the universities, the clubs, and everyone out there. How logistically, how much effort every year goes into preparing the festival?
Look, it's definitely a year-round thing. And what most people may or may not know is that the actual board, which governs the organisation, is a volunteer board. We all do this, as a passion project, something we've done over 15 years now. And, so you've got the board that governs the festival all year round, and we work on that, obviously, with our sponsors and partners and community organisations to deliver what you see, or what you will see this coming Thursday over the next 2 weeks before we take it into state. So you've got that, but then you've also got the, within the 2-week window of that year, we do have our event volunteers that support us, whether it's checking guests in or, doing some surveys, helping out with the setup of the event. We do have event volunteers as well So it's very much, we've got an army beside us that help us do what we do. But this would not be possible without the support of City of Canterbury Bankstown, Bankstown Sports, Screen New South Wales, all of our major partners. And of course, we've got Oz Arab Media as well, who have supported for, year on year as well. So we've got, incredible partnership family that all lean in, and they're truly committed to not only supporting the cause, but actually, advocating for positive change and for creating connection and bringing people together. And that's the uniqueness of the Lebanese Film Festival family.
That is mammoth collective effort by the community. That is mammoth. Now, going back to a very important year, 2011, where everything started, how did everything start?
It was very much it was born overnight, I would say. There was myself, Jessica, and Camille, who kind of, rallied together, and, Camille stumbled across a film, and he was in conversation with a particular filmmaker at that time. And, it was kind of, how do we get this film shown a bit more broadly in Australia? And that really ignited an idea in us. So it was that, coupled with, Lebanese cinema was, in a renaissance at its time. And it still is, I would argue. So there was that. And there was also, the City of Canterbury Bankstown, which is obviously local to us. And it was, how do we bring a premier cultural event to the area? So if you couple all those three things, we thought, you know what, let's just put on this film, put on a community screening and see how we go. But actually what we didn't know was 14 years later, we would become the world's largest festival of its kind. We would be supported by incredible corporate government and local and community and cultural partners, and we would be running nationally. So, it's definitely something that we're very proud of, and it's grown over time.
That's amazing. Okay, if I were to have the same idea, and I'm not sure if that's something that you did back then, would you not, if you wanted to showcase a film, then would you not take it through existing cinematic channels first? Rather than establishing something new? How did that journey come about?
Yeah, I think, and it's a very, very good question, by the way. I think this is where the uniqueness of the Lebanese Film Festival comes into play. It's about the brand experience. You can put on a screening, or you can leverage other sort of channels or networks to showcase film. That's fine. But you can't actually put on an event or put on that screening, and actually anchor it in, an experience, right, through those channels. So, for example, leveraging channels like, call it Netflix, or those digital streaming platforms, or even local community partners, we can do that. But could you actually anchor an event where people can step into that space and actually touch, taste, smell and feel Lebanon and its culture, and understand its people, and be transported to that particular place in that given time, and then anchor it in a screening. And that's the difference. It's the experience and the connection it creates.
It is an end-to-end experience. And just sharing a bit of my personal Lebanese Film Festival journey. I went last year to the closing night, and the reason I went was, first, I stumbled upon some red banners across the City of Canterbury Bankstown, which attracted my attention. And then I started looking online, and I saw some films that were short films that were just accessible online, which were really good quality. Some were confronting and thought-provoking and very good quality. Okay, and through that initial experience, that really encouraged me to go to the actual closing night, which was, as you said, a end-to-end experience in itself.
Yeah, definitely. And I think all of these films and pieces of content deserve its own platform. Lebanon deserves its own platform here in Australia when it comes to cinema, and this is what we're committed to.
Now, in its 15-year journey, have there been any challenges?
I like to call them opportunities, because within every challenge there's a learning, and that learning then becomes an opportunity. So definitely, absolutely. There, when we first launched, there were some screenings where we had, one person in the room, and we would be calling our parents to come and be there as seat fillers. I remember one time my mum came in an apron. She had left the cooking on the stove, turned off the stove, and ran to the cinema. Literally. So, we had the challenges of growing the audience. we had an opportunity to educate our audience as well in terms of what is the Lebanese Film Festival. We found that the diaspora, and I'm generalizing here, it wasn't everybody, but there were people that would say to us, we don't actually understand what you guys do. So we had to, there was an education piece there. Funding is always a challenge. Getting the support and the right funding to ensure that we can put on a world-class event year on year and elevate that and keep and maintain its consistency as well. So yeah, definitely. And then obviously, given the current situation, overseas as well, like that, there's certainly challenges with that. But what we're really seeing through those challenges is the common thread in this year's film program, and that is, resilience through storytelling. And that's very much, I would say, our ethos when it comes to the organisation, the event, and the program as well.
Resilience through storytelling. I like that. I like that. A COVID would have been another challenge, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. It was an opportunity for us to grow and really understand, well, how do we continue to make Lebanese cinema accessible during that time? And so we actually ran an online edition that year, I recall. And it was, and our partners, they really leaned into that. We had some partners that had to, obviously hold their funding for that year or two. But what it meant for us was, okay, well, how do we pivot? How do we continue to ensure that we're showcasing these incredible stories and talent here in Australia and provide, a dedicated platform for that? But also it was about how do we maintain brand presence in this time, in this challenging time? And it was quite cluttered. You had brands doing all sorts of different things to maintain relevance and maintain eyeballs and keep people engaged during that time. And so there was so much that we learned, honestly, through COVID, and we came out on the other end, and here we are now, and we're still growing. There's still so much more that we can do, and it's very much a team effort.
It really took off. This event really took off. You mentioned some of apart from the festival timings, you mentioned during other times of the year there are some other activities. Tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. So we have our hero, I call it our flagship event, which is very much the Sydney 2-week event, which is about to kick off on Thursday. And then we basically continue on interstate. So we have our events in the various states, which we do basically from, say, September through to November or December, depending on our schedule. But separate to that, we also partner with our community partners, or whether it's our cultural partners, and we put on, certain, I call it pop-up events, depending on the proactive opportunities that come up, we'll do that. So you will find that at times the Lebanese Film Festival will pop up with a particular event or collaborate with a particular cultural organisation or corporate partner to continue to maintain that relevance over the course of the year. It's very important to maintain that presence. So there's definitely different things we do at different times of the year.
And does it run through the majority of the year, or would you say at all times of the year there are some activities here and there?
Definitely. Look, it's I would say it's more ad hoc rather than set times of the year where we do stuff. And this is outside. I'm speaking outside of the flagship event. Like we have the schools program, where we do go out to schools or collaborate with schools to put on film screenings for students. And that is really not only to obviously showcase the films to the students, but also it becomes an education piece. If there's students that are interested in studying film or, anything in that medium, I guess, any part of that, we're partnered with Panavision, and that enables us to unlock access to, getting the right people in the room to actually, give a bit of a spiel about how that works, or encourage students to, find out a bit more and discover the festival and understand, well, what is a film festival? We also have, separate to that, we also have the Lebanese Film Festival Panavision Film of the Year Award, which year on year we award a particular filmmaker with that prize, and that prize enables them to redeem, film equipment from Panavision, which is arguably one of the biggest film equipment companies in the world. So we've got presence through the schools program, presence through the various ad hoc activations that we do with our partners, and then obviously we've got our flagship event.
interesting. Oh, that really mobilizes the whole of the community, not only the industry, but the whole community as well. Now, were there any moments that you ever thought about giving it up?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. Look, there are times where it does become a mammoth effort. It's an all year round thing, but when it comes to crunch time, like now, it does. It takes an army, right? So I wouldn't say we would want to give it up, but it's more, how do we pivot to work, smarter, not harder. So we look at, well, what can we do? What are the resources we can bring into this to actually ensure that our processes are more efficient? We have the right people in alignment with us, and we've got the right skilled individuals to deliver and execute what we need to do to make sure this festival gets off the ground. But most importantly, we're giving these films the platform it deserves.
Interesting. Very interesting. Now, you mentioned a little bit about this just then, about Lebanese film and culture. This is a film festival, but on a broader scale, what does it mean to the Lebanese community here in Australia? And what does it mean to our Canterbury, Bankstown, Western Sydney community?
Absolutely. For the Lebanese community, this is a platform that brings them closer to their homeland or their culture. It also enables them to understand, well, what are the stories that our people are trying to tell, whether it's coming out of Beirut or coming from other countries like France or the US or Brazil. It's that insight, it's that unified, experience. It's also relatable. It's familiarity as well. When you watch a film and you resonate with what you're seeing, it's that connection and that that escapism, being transported back to your homeland. So there's that for the Lebanese community. There's also providing them a platform as well to be proud of Lebanese cinema and understand it and showcase that in Australia and bring their friends along that may not necessarily be Lebanese. So there's that part to it. And then for the broader community, well, Lebanese Film Festival has become, I would say, one of the most, I call it the premier cultural event in Western Sydney. One of them,
Definitely.
one of them, and that's very, very much thanks to City of Canterbury, Bankstown, and Screen New South Wales and Bankstown Sports, who are our major partners year on year. They've committed to that, and our other sponsors and partners. But with Screen New South Wales particularly, they've committed to ensuring that we're able to run year on year and have that consistent support to put that on and ensure that Canterbury Bankstown has a premier arts and cultural event anchored in one of its biggest diaspora communities, that it has. So there's that. And it also, separate to that, there's the economic impact as well. So the festival arguably drives significant visitation to the area. And no doubt our partners can see that. So we work very hard to ensure that we position Bankstown as not just a place to watch Lebanese cinema, but a place to dine, a place to explore, a place to engage, and a place to stay. Stay the weekend and catch a couple of films, dine in before and after, go shopping at Bankstown Central. So there's just so much on offer that this diverse community has. And that's definitely the uniqueness, I would say, that the festival brings to City of Canterbury, Bankstown.
If Bankstown was lacking anything, now Bankstown has got everything. Finally, last but not least, what is your vision for the future?
It's we're visionary. I would say my fellow peers on the board. I must say I'm blessed to be able to work with such incredible human beings, and day on day, year after year, we get to do this together. And I think collectively, our vision is to see this festival continue to grow and evolve without losing its uniqueness, without losing its grassroots, call it, baseline, but continue to grow and reach new audiences and to continue to see those incredible films being made and being shown here in Australia and putting these films on the world stage, but most importantly in our backyard. So I think our vision would be to see that happen and also to see an increase in support from whether it's government or corporate or community partners, but most importantly, government as well. Yeah.
On that note, we look forward to a more and more successful Lebanese Film Festival for many, many years to come. And the most important thing is this year, during the 2-week period, if you have not checked out the website, if you have not signed up for an activity, come buy a ticket, support in one way or another. Now, on that note, Julia, good to talk to you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Oz Arab Media, for the support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.